Hello and welcome to Get to Know Them podcast. This is a podcast in which I'm gonna talk with some of the world's highest performers in order to learn more about them. I'm your host, Cameron Shuligoy. I hope you enjoy. Hi, who do we get to know today?
Hi, my name is Lara Rajteric. I'm a 22-year triathlete from Slovenia. I live in Ljubljana. I also study biochemistry, but mainly I do triathlon every day, and I try to be as professional as possible.
Well, it's very nice to meet you, Lara. You mentioned quite a lot of interesting stuff, but let's start with your triathlon career. How did you get into triathlon in the first place?
I did my first triathlon in October in 2022 in Porec. I registered for the race, I think, in May, and then started training for the race. I did some road cycling before, so I was not a complete newbie to endurance sports. And when I was younger, I also did some swimming. Nothing serious, but enough to be able to swim. So that was not a problem. So the only thing I had to learn to do, or if you want, was to run, but anyone can run. So that was the smallest one of the problems. So actually I injured myself straight away while running, of course. So I actually only started running properly in like August. So I didn't have much time before the race. And then the race went well. I won my age group and I think I was like third overall. Then qualified for the world champs. But funny story, before this slot allocation, I didn't even know that there is like a world championship in this middle distance. When I got the slot, I asked my parents if I should take it, and they said yes. So then we went to Finland in August the next year. So after getting this slot, then it was like the time when I realized, oh, maybe I really like triathlon, and then I started doing it more seriously. So this was kind of the beginning of my triathlon journey.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting story. And now you said that you're a professional triathlete. How did you actually qualify for the professional license, and how did you decide to become a professional?
In Slovenia, we don't really have like any criteria you have to achieve to go pro, because we don't even have like a separate license. It's like the same license. I basically won everything I started in 2023, except of the world champs, where I was like third in my age group. So it was kind of like the next logical step. So in 2023, I won the last race I won was in Porec. I won the overall by quite a margin, and it was also the national championship of Slovenia. And after that race, I didn't plan to go pro or anything. I qualified for the New Zealand, but I didn't take the slot because it's like too expensive and too far, and in like the wrong part of the year for me. So it would not be possible to go. And then winning Porec and also the other results I got in 2023 opened up quite some doors for me. I got some sponsors and quite a lot of support. Some support, which I'm super grateful for. Then I decided to go all in. Why not? Because like winning the age group races is all fun and nice, but you don't really have much from it, like except for like the satisfaction. And in pro racing, you can make some money. And I really enjoyed triathlon and the journey and the process of training and getting better. So I think it was like the only logical decision.
Yeah, that's a great mindset and a nice way of thinking. I was obviously coming from this perspective because you're still young and, like you said, you have dreams and goals in triathlon, but being young and being, let's say, not that established and taking the professional card is a big responsibility and a heavy step to take. You mentioned that you have quite some sponsors that are alongside you. Was that getting the sponsors the reason why you took the professional card? Was it a difficult decision to take the pro card?
Yeah, maybe I expressed I expressed myself a bit wrongly. Yeah, actually, it was like after deciding to go pro, when I got like my first sponsors, and not the other way around. So yeah, it wasn't the best way to put it, but yeah, I mixed it up a bit. But yeah, it definitely helps having some support, because otherwise it's super hard, especially if you're just a student. Like, still, my parents are my biggest supporters, but I would not be able to race as much and do everything like, yeah, without the support I get. Most of my sponsors are like mostly for like food and equipment and stuff, which is great, because that is like quite a substantial part of like the whole, like regarding the price of being a pro. But yeah, I am super grateful for everyone that stands by my side.
Yeah, understandably. I was also coming from this perspective because I'm an age grouper myself, and I know that triathlon is an expensive sport in itself. But when you're an age grouper, you're not contesting for, like you said before, prize money and the biggest results. But once you're a professional, you're competing against others who have many bigger sponsors, more equipment, more resources. Like if we take just bikes, for example, you can't be competitive with a regular road bike against somebody who has a high-end triathlon bike. And this is why I ask, because I'm wondering now, do you feel maybe disadvantaged against other more established pros? Or do you think that the equipment doesn't make that much difference and it's the athlete that counts the most?
I think, anyways, like, the legs are still what counts the most, and I think that's it's also how it should be. And then comes the equipment. I also did like my first triathlon on a road bike. I was like, it looked like I looked like the most you can imagine, like the triathlon looking as much as you can as an amateur. Um, I looked quite funny on that bike, but yeah, and I think I still got like this second or even first fastest bike split. But yeah, you can't do that in pro racing, of course. You need you on at most races you need a triathlon specific bike, but also like, yeah. But equipment wise, I think I'm pretty well covered, at least regarding like the bike part, because I have like a sponsor that covers all that stuff for me, regarding the bike. And then yeah, I also get some running shoes and stuff. So I don't think I'm like that much behind. Still, yeah, there will still be some pros getting, of course, if you are better. And also like maybe abroad, it's a bit easier to get sponsors than in Slovenia, because triathlon in reality it's a popular sport here, but more on the amateur side, and because there are not so many pros and it's not that well known, so it's even harder to get sponsors to be interested in supporting you. So I think still, yeah, the legs and the lungs are the most important part, and then comes the rest. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. And if we take a step forward now to your first professional career, I took a look at your results a bit and I saw that you achieved some respectable results. And I'm wondering, from your perspective, how do you rate this first professional season? And what would you say was the biggest success you've had?
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, how would I rate it? I would rate it probably like maybe a 6 out of 10 or something. But yeah, there were definitely some highs and some lows. I think the biggest high was getting 6th place at Challenge Walchsee, which is a pretty stacked race. Also a pretty tough course on the bike. We also had some rain, so even there was like slippery road, but it was great for me because it was a bit colder. And yeah, so I'm super satisfied with how I raced it. And yeah, but other results I had some bad luck. Usually the heat was what breaks me on the run, because I'm really bad in the heat. At like 20 degrees, it's my kind of my limit. So under 20 degrees, I can finish the race normally. And if it's hotter, I have quite some problems. And then, yeah, I had some more bad luck during the summer because I got injured. I think it was because of the heat stress, because it was so hot for so long, and I can't deal with that. So then then it affected my sleep and my recovery, and I trained the same as before. And yeah, I think it was like an annoying injury, so I couldn't run. And yeah, during that during the recovery from the injury, I got hit by a car in my other leg. So yeah, it prolonged the recovery, and basically I couldn't I didn't improve anymore in my running. So it was just kind of like doing the least amount of work that I at least like stayed a bit running fit. So yeah, but I lost a lot of fitness there. So yeah. So sadly, the other races this year didn't go that well. I also did during my recovery, I did the aqua bike race in Podersdorf because I couldn't get my money back for the starting fee, but they allowed me to change the race, and I swam normally, something meaty, I didn't really try hard. Then I lost a lot of time in T1 because I had some problems with the swim skin, and yeah, my bag was not there, so I had to explain it to the organizer. But still, I got pretty the fastest bike split by quite a margin, and I was first of the bike. But then my race ended, so sadly, because I couldn't run. Maybe if I could run, I would get my first win, or at least a podium. Podium was very much achievable on that day. But yeah, so hopefully next year will be much better, with hopefully less bad luck, because yeah, I want to put together a normal solid season for the whole year, not just the first part.
Yeah, I also hope that you have a better second season as a professional, and I wish you good luck already with that.
Thank you.
And I'm wondering now, how are you gonna approach the second season? How is the training gonna look like, or what are you gonna focus on? And maybe what are the goals that you're trying to achieve in the next season?
I think training will look pretty much similar. Of course, some more volume because I'm a year longer in the sport and my body is stronger. And it also needs some more stimulus to get adaptation. But yeah, more or less, I'm really satisfied with the work me and my coach do. And yeah, I was also developing really nicely, progressing before, at least until the injury. But yeah, so how I'm going to approach it, I just finished my off season, so now I'm fresh back into full on training mode. And I think races are still far from now, but yeah, I have some plans, some ideas of where I want to be, which races I want to do. And yeah, more specifically, it would be nice to get maybe even into a top 100 on PTO stats. I think I don't know exactly, but I'm in the top 200.
Maybe 160, yeah.
Okay, so you know exactly. So yeah, it would be nice maybe to get into top 100. That would be the goal, and of course, get regular podiums. But you never know who's gonna show up at the races, so it's hard to predict. And I also have another side goal. It's not a small goal, but it would be nice. I will try to qualify for the 70.3 World Champs. Yeah, in Marbella. I will try to do that in spring, but yeah. And if I don't succeed, who cares? But it would be nice, maybe, to go race in Spain in November. And it would be like quite a big personal victory for me. Yeah, and that's it, considering the goals, I think.
Yeah, that's nice. And it's nice that you have these goals. And like previously, I wish you all the best in achieving them already, because I know that you're quite capable of achieving them all, even qualifying for the Worlds. But like you said, it's also not completely dependent on you, because you can have the best day of your life. But if you have some top end competitors in the same race, that can mean like, I don't know, fifth, sixth place, and you miss the qualifying spot. But
Yeah, of
yeah,
course.
fortune favors the brave, they say. So I guess the fortune is going to favor you.
Let's hope so. It would be
You
nice
mentioned
to.
before that you had quite a lot of difficulties this season with injuries, the car accident, and such. And I'm wondering what keeps you going in hard times? And do you maybe have a quote, mantra, something that you keep saying to yourself in these tough moments?
Yeah, what keeps me going? I never lack like motivation. I'm super motivated. And you kind of like just following the process of getting better, and it's like your everyday. If you want to be professional, it turns into your like everyday life. That's what you do. Um, so I just kind of like, I think you have to maybe switch off a bit in such difficult times. Maybe also do some other things you enjoy. Maybe spend a bit more time with your friends or something. Maybe do also other things out of triathlon. And then, and you also like, maybe everyone can get injured, and everyone does get injured. So even the top pros, and they always like get back, or you can see like all those stories when people get back and it gets better. And I think like the most motivating thing for me is like knowing, so when I will get back, I will do everything in my power to get even stronger, and to prevent from getting injured again. And I think like it's the motivation is to know that you will be able to run again. I think that is like my motivation. Maybe it's weird, but yeah, I don't really have a mantra or anything like for the times of injury. But yeah, I just maybe try to zoom out a bit and do some other things I also enjoy.
Yeah, that's a nice answer and a nice explanation. I don't think it's weird. I think that every person needs to find something that keeps them going. And the only thing that matters is that it works for them. It doesn't matter what other people think about it. So if it works for you, then that's all that matters. But you mentioned that you have to do other stuff outside of triathlon. And this is a nice segue from triathlon to maybe a bit more general or personal questions. And I'm wondering, which things besides triathlon do you enjoy the most?
I really like hiking, like during the off season. I love hiking, going to the mountains, because it's also the time of the year where there's the least people in the mountains. So that's great. I like during the summer, I don't do that. I also like, yeah, I also take my dog with me because I love spending time with my dog. I also love spending times with my friends, um, and hanging out, and also traveling. So yeah, maybe going to some parties, chilling. Like that's more like for the off season, not the most advisable are you to do what while you are injured. Um, but yeah, mm, that's it, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a nice answer. And what is something that you wanted to do for a long time but just haven't done it yet?
well, I'm currently actually pretty satisfied with what I did during my off season. Um, hmm, like most of the stuff I like, the enjoyable things I want to do, I usually do straight away. But I kind of procrastinate with more like the not that as enjoyable things and chores I need to do. So yeah, maybe that would be like calling my dentist and get scheduled for an appointment or something. That is something I kind of procrastinate with for quite some time now.
Okay, that's an interesting answer. My next question is, if you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
Well, you said a meal, so I think for an appetizer, I would have some pizza, and then for the main dish, I think I would have some barbecue chicken wings, and then for dessert, I think I would just have like a gallon of ice cream or something. Yeah, but otherwise, besides that, pretty much anything Italian would also work with me, other than pizza or gelato.
Okay, that's a nice answer. And what is your guilty pleasure?
Oh, maybe that would be wine. Yeah, try to stay away from it during the season, but during the off season, I can afford to have some more.
Yeah, but also a little bit never hurts, even in
Yeah,
the
of
season.
course. Yeah, but it's of course, but it's hard to have just little.
Yeah, I understand. If we take a look at your playlist, which songs are the top 3 on your playlist?
Well, I don't have my phone here with me, so I can't check that. But maybe if you are interested in more like during what I listen to during training, or
yeah,
well, that would be on my training playlist. I think it would be some Eminem or some Logic. Probably what gets me hyped the most would be maybe Like You from Eminem, or Till I Collapse. Probably basic, but that's what works for me when I listen to music while training, which the only occasion is on the turbo trainer during some hard sets. But otherwise, I don't really listen to music while riding and running outside.
Yeah, that's a nice answer. And I think a pretty popular choice between triathletes and cyclists in general.
Yeah.
You mentioned in the beginning that you are also studying or were studying. Can you tell maybe a bit more about that? What were you studying, and are you planning to study even further, or maybe get a job or something besides being a professional triathlete, or is that put on hold for the moment?
I'm still studying. I'm studying biochemistry, but I'm currently like taking a gap year, because I the only thing I have left to do is to finish my thesis. So yeah, I'm actually like free to do triathlon for the first time as a true professional this year. Before it was quite hard. So my first season wasn't really a pro season because I had a lot of stuff to do for uni. Yeah, I don't plan to stay in biochemistry in the future. It's not really what it's a good base, but it's not really what interests me the most. So I would like to continue my studies somewhere abroad. I would like to study sports science. So like to do my master's in sports science, which I luckily have a good base for because of studying biochemistry. Yeah, but I don't know exactly when. Depends on how this season will go, probably, and to see what opportunities like show up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. That's very nice. And it's also very nice that you have at least some education that you can fall back on if triathlon career doesn't go according to plans, or if it ends prematurely. Because I think what often happens is that athletes finish their career and they don't have anything to do, or they don't have education that would get them a regular job. And I think that it's nice that you're also focusing on that and thinking about it now that you're still young.
Thank you. I agree.
I asked you before about the goals for the next season, but if we take a look at your career as a whole, what would you say is the biggest goal that you have in triathlon? What is the thing that you want to achieve in your triathlon career?
I think it's hard to say for now. I can only say for like now, what would be the biggest goal? I think because I really don't know how it will turn out, like in the more distant future, or how good will I get. Maybe like winning one of the really big races would be nice. I think like maybe gold tier and starting on PTO. That would be really nice. But yeah, otherwise maybe like getting into the top 20 would be like dreamy. But yeah, those are like the pretty big goals. I don't know how realistic they are. I will do my best, of course, to achieve them. But yeah, for now it would be just qualifying for the Ironman World Champs, and then we will see. Yeah, I think you need to set goals, but most of them need to be like realistic, because if they're all so unrealistic that you can't achieve them, there's no point in setting goals. You need to set them high, but still achievable.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. That's a nice way of thinking. And I also think that it's nice that you have some longer term goals, or maybe goals that seem unachievable now, but you have goals along the way. So you take them step by step, because then you keep progressing step by step. And in a couple of years, you get so much closer to that biggest goal that right now seems unobtainable.
Yeah.
Well, this is, I think, a nice place to slowly steer this conversation towards the end. And at the end, I let my guest leave a question for the next guest on the show. My previous guest was Grace Alexander. She's a professional triathlete from the US, and she wants to know, which is a bit of a weird question for a young professional like you, but how will you know when to step away from triathlon or to end your triathlon career?
I think there are like more possibilities. Maybe one would be like that some other opportunities in life pop up that you didn't expect before. But otherwise, if like your normally progress, I think like yeah, it's really hard to say for me. I think yeah, the logical answer would be just like when you don't enjoy it anymore. If you're not enjoying the process anymore in racing and traveling around races, I think you should call it quits. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a nice answer. And what is your question for the next guest on the show?
Oh, yeah. Would you rather have one more perfect season, winning everything, or have 10 more like mediocre seasons, not winning a single race? You could achieve good results, but you wouldn't win anything. So yeah, that would be my question.
Okay, that's a very interesting question. And if I ask this question to you, what would you choose?
Yeah, I didn't see that coming, but I would probably choose one perfect season with winning everything and then stop, rather than just have like not winning a single race in 10 years.
Okay, yeah, that's obviously a very difficult question, but yeah, thank you for the answer. And I would like to say also thank you for coming on the show, Lara. If people want to follow you, support you, maybe if they want to reach out, maybe if some sponsors are interested in reaching out, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm mostly active on Instagram. So they can find me there, reach out to me on Instagram. Yeah, that's it. I think.
Okay, I'm gonna put the link into the show notes so people are gonna find you.
Oh yeah, and they can follow my Strava, of course.
Okay, I'm also gonna put the
and
Strava account into the show notes. But like I said, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on the show. And I wish you all the best in your career.
yeah, thanks for the invitation.